In the realm of British politics, the divide between rhetoric and reality has never been more stark. Politicians routinely offer polished slogans and grand promises, but when it comes to implementation, the track record of many in power is dismal at best. If we are to believe what we hear in the media and witness in parliamentary speeches, one might think that every problem in this nation is being addressed with vigor and competence. Yet the facts tell a very different story, especially when it comes to the Labour Party and its leadership. It's time to call out the hollow promises, the unaccountable leadership, and the outright contempt for the British people that characterises the current Labour leadership under Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer. What we're witnessing isn't just a failure of governance, it's a betrayal. Let's begin with the unmistakable disconnect between Labour's promises and its actions. Time and again, we hear phrases like more money in people's pockets, stability and reform, and investment in the future. These sound like lofty ideals, the kind of language that inspires hope. But where is the substance? Where is the tangible plan that would bring these words into reality? The simple truth is that Labour's proposals are often little more than empty slogans. They talk a big game, yet when the rubber meets the road, they are quick to deflect responsibility and offer vague platitudes rather than concrete, actionable solutions. This isn't leadership, it's political theatre. What's more concerning, though, is the complete lack of accountability within the party. Labour's leadership thrives on deflection. They blame others for their failures, ignore the very people they claim to represent, and pass the buck on important decisions. Take Rachel Reeves' disastrous conference speech as a prime example. If the aim was to inspire confidence and present a clear plan for the country's future, she failed spectacularly. Instead of addressing the core issues facing Britain today, she delivered an over-rehearsed set of talking points that only served to highlight Labour's impotence. No vision, no real plan, just more words. And if you think that was an anomaly, you are mistaken. It is a symptom of a much deeper issue within the party, one that prioritizes political posturing over effective governance. But let's not stop there. The most alarming accusation against Labour is its active evasion of democratic accountability. Recent reports suggest that the party is considering cancelling local elections next year, driven not by any legitimate reason, but out of fear that they may be wiped out at the polls by rising alternatives such as Reform UK. This is a shocking manoeuvre, one that should send chills down the spine of any true Democrat. The idea that a political party, instead of facing the electorate and justifying its record, would rather silence the public's voice entirely, speaks volumes about its priorities. For Labour, it seems, power is far more important than democracy itself. This should be a red flag for anyone who cares about the integrity of our political system. And as if that wasn't enough, Labour's approach to free speech is equally troubling. Under Rayner and Starmer's leadership, the party has become increasingly hostile to independent voices and free expression. Labour's calls for greater censorship, including the regulation of media platforms and deplatforming of dissenting voices, betray their contempt for the very principles of free speech upon which democracy is built. This isn't about protecting the public from harmful content, it's about control. It's about silencing opposition and pushing a Labour-proof narrative. If Rayner had her way, we might wake up one day to find that the only news we can consume is the news that Labour has given its stamp of approval. This is not democracy. This is authoritarianism in disguise. But perhaps the most despicable betrayal of all is Labour's treatment of Britain's pensioners. These are the individuals who have worked their entire lives, paid their taxes, and contributed to the country's welfare system. Yet, in their time of need, Labour has failed them. Winter fuel payments have been delayed, pensioners are struggling to pay their bills, and promises made during election cycles have been broken. Meanwhile, Labour MPs, comfortably ensconced in their warm offices, sip taxpayer-funded lattes and engage in political games. The cold reality is that the very people who built this country are being left to fend for themselves while those in power seem more interested in scoring political points than delivering on the basic promises of governance. The time for polite discourse is over. It's time to call Labour out for what it is, a party more interested in securing power than serving the people. A party that talks a big game but delivers little. A party that evades democratic accountability, suppresses free speech, and betrays those who have worked their entire lives for the good of the nation. We cannot afford to let this continue. The British people deserve better. We deserve leaders who are committed to real change, who are willing to face the consequences of their actions, and who prioritize the well-being of the people above their own political ambitions. It's time for Labour to be held accountable, not just for their failures, but for their complete disregard for the values that make this country great.